Hello everyone, and today I will be taking a look at some of Drag Race's strongest losing finale performances. These are queens who did a great job in the finale, but due to really any number of reasons, didn't end up taking home the crown. First up, from Season 8, we have icon legend Naomi Smalls. As great as she is going into the finale of Season 8, I think it's fair to say Naomi Smalls was third of the three finalists. Bob the Drag Queen had an all-around great season, Kim Chi had a great start, weak middle, and great finish, and Naomi had a weak start and a lot of momentum going into the finale. With that in mind, while Naomi was still a contender for the crown, she had the weakest track record and definitely had to make up a lot of ground in the finale performance and the runway. First up is Bob the Drag Queen, who does an all-around solid job. I will admit that she was given by far the worst song of the three, but she did what she could with it and delivered an all-around good performance. I don't know how much better she could have done with that song. Then we have Kim Chi, who has a great song and an okay performance, but it could have been a bit better with the stronger dancer. Then we have Naomi, who absolutely blows the roof off that building. I would argue that for the first 8 seasons of Drag Race, this is the strongest individual finale performance we have ever seen. Not only did she have by far the best song, she was selling every single word, she was hitting every single move. This is a masterclass in how you perform in a finale. The queens walk the final runway, and yet again Naomi does a great job. Bob and Kim Chi are great as well, but Naomi is really able to show her glow up, and I would argue that in this finale, she definitely made up the lost ground that Bob and Kim Chi had over her. While in the end, Bob would end up winning because she was the strongest throughout the season, I would argue that if we are judging based off the finale alone, this season could very likely go to Naomi Smalls. Her performance to Legs is my personal favorite individual performance Drag Race has ever had. Next up, one season over, we have Katya from All Stars 2. Looking at the track records going into the finale, just like Naomi, Katya is in third place. In this situation though, it's not because Katya had a weak start, it's that production gave Katya a weird, unneeded bottom in the acting challenge. All of that said, Katya does still have a lot of ground to make up in this finale performance. The first aspect of the finale is Read You Wrote You, and Jesus Christ, I've started to see some revisionist history about Katya not being the best here, but my god, Katya gives one of the best verses ever, my personal favorite, and is completely dominant in this challenge. Roxy Andrews is a hot mess, Detox is needlessly self-deprecating, and Alaska isn't bad, but just isn't able to reach the heights that Katya does. Katya was the best dancer, and she had the best verse by a long shot. We arrive at the final 3, they lip sync for the crown, and this one is a lot closer than a lot of people admit. I have seen for a long time a lot of people saying that Detox dominated, but in my mind, all 3 of these queens were pretty even. In the end, while Alaska did end up taking home the crown, if we are judging based off the finale, it is 100% Katya. I will also add that if All Stars 2 happened the exact same way it did now, there is no doubt in my mind that Katya would take this home. I love Alaska, but she very much benefited from the fact that finale performances did not matter as much then as they do now. Next up, from Season 11, we have Brooke Lynn Hytes. Looking at the track records going into the finale, unlike Naomi and Katya, Brooke is actually in first place. She has the most wins on the season, she was in the top the most, and while she was in the bottom twice, she is still first place in track record in almost any system you use. All that to say, going into this finale, Brooke is the one to beat. The queens walk the final runway, and this category is very even. Akira does something very outside of the box for her very well. Brooke Lynn Hytes does something relatively inside the box for her insanely well. Silky's hair and makeup are very good, but her dress is weird. And then Evie is Evie, and I mean that as the highest possible compliment I can give. It is time for rounds 1 and 2 of the lip sync for the crown, and Brooke does insanely well. While with Evie and Akira, the lip sync is vaguely close. From what we see in the edit, Brooke Lynn mops the floor with Silky. I know it has been talked about after the season that Silky was very much edited down in this lip sync. Brooke still did an insane job in this lip sync. She is the first and only queen I can remember to ever do a shoe reveal. That is iconic, and as great as Silky was, Brooke had the strongest individual performance of anyone in this round. Brooke and Evie move on to the final two and lip sync for the crown to Edge of Glory. The lip sync is about a minute and a half long, and for the first minute, I would give it to Brooke. She has a very well executed reveal, she is pulling out every trick she has, and the audience is absolutely living for it. Then, in the last 20 seconds, Evie reveals an entire other face and does a backflip. While in the end, I would give this lip sync to Evie 60-40. Brooke Lynn had a great night at this finale, and I think she would win in almost any other scenario other than a final two to Edge of Glory with Evie. Next up, from All Stars 4, we have Mo Hart. Looking at the track records going into the All Stars 4 finale, we have Trinity in first, Mo and Monet pretty much tied for second, and then Naomi in fourth. With Manila gone, while it is still leaning to Trinity, it really is anyone's game, except maybe Naomi, I don't know. The queens do their performances to Super Queen. It is a very underrated remix, you just have to listen to it at a higher speed. But even in the lesser version that we got on the season, Mo did a great job and is well on her way to the final two. The queens walk the final runway, and Mo does a very good job. No one in this finale is really able to hold a candle to what Naomi did, but Mo did a very good job. Her makeup and hair were beautiful, and her dress had the greatest fine details of any runway this episode. In addition to this, things are going even better for Mo, as her and Monet had previously set up a storyline about how amazing it would be if the two Season 10 girls shocked everyone and made it to the final two. With all of that in mind, as well as Trinity kind of flopping in Super Queen, Mo is well on her way to the final two, possibly even a crown. Then it is announced that the final two are Trinity the Tuck and Monet X Change. Is this final two fair? Yes. Would it have been amazing to see Mo there after how well she did in this finale? Absolutely. While I'm not going to argue that any queen in this video was robbed per se, I do think it is somewhat unfair that Mo got cut when she did. Next up from Season 9 we have Peppermint. Looking at the Season 9 finale runways, Sasha is very clearly the strongest, but for Peppermint, this is the best she looked all season. The mug was right, the hair was right, she looked stunning. Trinity the Tuck and Shay were there also. For their first lip syncs of the finale, Peppermint and Trinity have to face off to a Britney Spears song. Based off everything we've seen all season, this could really go either way. Peppermint gave us the best lip syncs of the season, while Trinity absolutely bodied a Britney Spears song. The music starts to play, and it becomes clear very quickly that Trinity is outmatched. Her reveal is very weak and the timing is bad, and apart from that, she just does a regular lip sync. Then we have Peppermint, who absolutely mops the floor with Trinity. She has easily the second strongest reveal of the night, one of the strongest reveals we have ever seen, and all around great dancing. I know that 90% of the focus this episode ended up going to the Sasha Shay lip sync, but in retrospect, if you put this lip sync on almost any other season, it would be by far the highlight of the finale. Sasha and Peppermint move on to the final lip sync. The song is It's Not Right But It's Okay, and neither one of them went too far into the reveal department. Sasha has a face mask that she takes off, but apart from that, there isn't much in terms of reveals. This means that we get to spend the entire lip sync watching the emotions and dancing that Sasha and Peppermint bring respectively. Just like the lip sync between Peppermint and Trinity, this performance is insanely underrated. And while Sasha definitely did outperform everyone else in every category of this finale, that's more the fact that Sasha was incredible this night while Peppermint was just all around great. Just like a lot of the other entries on this video, if you put Peppermint's performance in almost any other season, she is walking away with a crown. Moving on to our fifth and final finalist, we have Kandy Muse. Looking at these track records, Jimbo slayed the season and Kandy has a lot of ground to make up. To make things even worse, and Kandy's finale performance more impressive, Production spends literally the entire episode trying to make her fail. It is actually comically evil how bad production is to her in this episode. In the individual performances, Jimbo does really well, but Kandy's performance is great and made even better by the fact that production is forcing her to just shoot it over and over and over and over to try and get footage of her messing up. Like I said, it is comically evil what they are trying to do. Jimbo and Kandy lip sync for the crown, and while Jimbo once again does well, this is a great showing on Kandy's part. She has reveals, her outfit looks really good, she's making Ru laugh, and giving an all-around entertaining performance. While I do agree with Jimbo winning the season, I have to give credit where credit is due to Kandy. She had one of the greatest individual finale performances we have ever seen, and it is made even more impressive that, unlike every other entry on this list, production was actively trying to sandbag her every step of the way. Hey, it's Drag Race Rejudged. Do you want gay shit? Well then check out the RuPaul's Drag Race Rejudged YouTube channel and hit subscribe.